that's not working as well as it used to. So without further ado, let me say that I stand before you tonight convinced that I am making the right decision by saying that I will seek the nomination of the Democratic Town Committee to be their first selectman candidate in this coming year's election. So well, Margaret, I have a few things to say. All right. And the first thing I did want to say quickly was, why am I running? What's the key things that are driving me and made me make that decision against what was really the judgment of many other people who said, Ed, we think you'd be great for the job, but don't do it. Don't do it because it's just not healthy. That was my doctor's advice. But I say there are three reasons for running, and Drew sort of touched on these. You know, I have many hats that I wear around town. Not only am I a resident, I'm a business owner, I'm a leader in the Democratic Party here, and recent developments in Southbury in the areas of governance, civility, as well as overall politics have made me concerned about Southbury's future. Over the course of the campaign, I will expand on each of these and draw out the differences between the Democratic Party and my opponents. Let's take them one by one. When it comes to governance, Drew referred to this before as professionalism. We see a lack of professionalism in the way things are done here in Town Hall, and that needs to be improved. The town is much larger than it used to be. It's much more complicated. Some of that because of the population growth, some of that because of so many more requirements that are placed upon the town by state and federal government. You need somebody who can balance all of those things, keeping Southbury's rural character, at the same time being compliant with all the new rules and expectations that people have about what a local government can do. When I look at things that have gone on in the past, two that stand out in my mind. A year ago, more than a year ago, Donna and I both serve on the Board of Finance. In reviewing things, I raised the question about our dispatch system and saying, well, shouldn't we look towards regionalizing our dispatch system? And everybody told me, you can't do that. Well, now we see on the front page of the Voices on Saturday, I believe it was, there is a move of many towns to look towards regionalization. And guess who wasn't at the table? Southbury. We should be at the table. We should be a leader given our size and our position towards looking for more efficient, effective ways of doing things. And not just saying, well, because it couldn't work 30 years ago, that's a reason for saying you can't do it today. Some of you might be realizing technology is changing, like every day. So you got to keep looking at these questions. Another that really hit home was our Charter Revision Commission. Many of us, including the whole members of the Board of Finance, said that this town needed to look at the option of a professional town manager. Everyone on that commission said, we will look at this. They went out to many towns, I forget exactly how many, to look at what a difference a town manager could make positively or negatively for other towns. And then the Republican Town Committee basically said, we don't want to look at that option. After everybody had done all the work, they said, we're not going to look at that option. And so at a meeting held in this room, a decision was made, we're not even going to go forward and look at that anymore. Never even presented it to the people of this community to say, what are the advantages and disadvantages, and you decide. That's the role of a Charter Revision Commission. That's not what happened here. That's the lack of professionalism in moving forward. In terms of civility, I think a lot of you are seeing at the national, state, and local level, we're just seeing a level of discourse that makes many of us very uncomfortable. And quite honestly, I see it drives more and more people away from even wanting to talk about politics, let alone becoming involved in politics. That's not good for our country. That's not good for our state. That's not good for our town. I think some of the reasons it's happening here is because of the professionalism and the way we've been governed over the last 5-10 years. Some of that has led to this. But it's not an excuse, and we need leadership that's going to say, we're going to try and create a more civil way. I called Bill Davis this morning, and I think we both agreed that we'll try and run a campaign, if he's the nominee, that says, yes, we can disagree, but we don't need to be disagreeable about it. And I hope we'll be able to set an example for doing it that way. And finally, when it comes to politics, I think it's not healthy for any government, local, state, national, when one party dominates. It leads to a level of arrogance. It leads to a level of entitlement. It says we don't have to care. I was saying to somebody over the weekend, it reminds me of Lily Tomlin's routines when she was with the Ma Bell, We're the phone company, we don't have to care. Well, that's what happens when you have a monopoly of one party. As I say, a lot of people discuss about how our two-party system is not working, and we can all have disagreements about that. The one thing we know that's worse than a two-party system is a one-party system. We need to do better as Democrats to make sure that Southbury is not seen as a one-party town, and that the Democrats or any other minority party has no voice to be given or heard. As Drew alluded to, I think I bring the right experience. I've served on many boards and commissions here in town, including Inland Wetlands Commission, Board of Finance, the Southbury Historic District, the Retirement Pension Oversight Committee, and I think I forgot one, but somewhere in there. So I think I've learned a lot about what the town has been doing, but I've been frustrated on many of those groups because as a volunteer, as a part-time person, it's hard to influence change and get things moving. And I'm hoping that as a First Selectman, I can actually make some things happen that I've been encouraging from the sidelines. In terms of my professional service, or professional experience, I don't want to take too much of your time, but I have a long history of experiences before I came to Southbury. For 20 plus years, I was an employee of ExxonMobil Corporation, where I had many opportunities in the area of developing and implementing accounting systems in the Caribbean and Central America, working in the areas of investment analysis, corporate planning, financial systems development, as well as public affairs. And my favorite assignment was 4 years in Bermuda as general manager. And I bring that up because when I was asked to go to Bermuda, I was already sort of in the twilight of my career. And the reason they sent me there is because we had gotten into a bad position. My predecessor had done a phenomenal job in just a short 2 years of alienating all the employees and basically alienating all of our major customers. And I was brought in to do two things: try to right the ship and find a Bermudian who could take my place. As I say to my wife Christine, unfortunately we succeeded, so we had to leave. But I think there's some of that ability and experience that I could bring here to Southbury in terms of creating the right morale, the right attitude for what we want our town to be, and how it can go forward, and at the same time look towards a succession of Democrats to follow in my footsteps. Other experiences I've had is working for the national laboratories on the West Coast, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and the Pacific Northwest Laboratories, working in the area of energy and environmental policy. And that is what has made me very cognizant of the importance of any environmental initiative that we take. Because so many of the people I see in this room care about the beauty and the health of the environment that we have here in Southbury. That the most important thing to make all that work is not stacks of rules and regulations, and it's not stacks or lots of enforcement officers. It's creating the attitude amongst the populace that they recognize that this is important to them. How you get that message out is with strong leaders who convince people that a positive, healthy environment, natural environment, is critical to their well-being. You got to keep explaining that over and over. Now, over the next few months, we're going to see a lot of things happen here in Southbury. The Republicans have two candidates, at least as far as I know at this point, and so they need to make some decisions. I plan to use this time to ask people like yourselves to help me meet and get to know as many people here in Southbury as I can. Chris Murphy, who's run some very effective campaigns here, has taught us all a lesson about the importance of door knocking, getting out there, meeting people, talking to them, and most importantly, listening. I was thinking about this today in writing to Megan about the first time Chris Murphy came to Southbury to talk, a meeting at our house. And I was just so impressed about his ability to stand there and just listen to what the voters had to say. So many politicians want to come in and tell you what they're going to do for you. But the most important thing for any politician is to listen to the people, because at the end of the day, you're their representative. Several people have come forward and been willing to say a few kind words. I hope they're kind words about me today. So I'm going to turn it back to Drew, who will be our master of ceremonies, and then, as I said, we'll take some questions from the press after that, as well as anybody else. Thank you.